First-person shooters are a very crowded genre, with many focusing on realism and survival, which definitely have their place. But when you just want to jump into VR and start blasting anything that moves, this game has you covered. Wrath Aeon of Ruin is the revival of the old-school FPS formula, which is inspired by Doom and the original Quake games. What made these games so great was that they threw an overwhelming amount of enemies at you, but also gave you a devastating arsenal of weapons, each with their own distinct advantages. Wrath takes the best elements of the old-school genre and improves every aspect, from the wide variety of guns, enemies, movement system, level design, and of course, the over-the-top amount of gore, which makes every kill that much more satisfying. This was originally a flat-screen game that was ported to VR by Team Beef, who have extensive experience in porting old-school flat games to VR. So this was the perfect team to take on a port like this. The controls are very intuitive and allow you to move, dash, slide, jump, switch weapons in both hands, and equip all items with a single button press. The melee weapon also doubles as a jumping boost, which allows you to traverse the world quickly. You can easily hold either grip button to equip them in either hand, then let go to instantly switch back to your previous weapon. This means you can switch between gunning enemies down, then quickly dashing to evade without missing a beat, which keeps the pace of the game moving very quickly. Speaking of the weapons, there are a wide variety, each with their own advantages in different situations. One of the best features of this game is the ability to dual wield every gun in the game. For instance, you can go all in with dual double barrel shotguns, or use a mix of short and long range guns at the same time, to take on multiple enemy types simultaneously. But best of all, each weapon also has an alternative fire when you hold the gun with both hands. For instance, the basic starter pistol can suddenly be used to kill even advanced level enemies by shooting triple shots with the alt fire. So even in the later levels of the game, every single weapon is still completely viable and do not become obsolete when new guns are introduced. They all have their own unique advantages in different situations. There's also a wide range of enemy types, from the usual zombies, small and large flying monsters, shooting enemies that attack from afar, large enemies that move slowly but deal a lot of damage, and even some that shield other enemies. What this game does best is spawn multiple enemy types at once, which constantly keeps you on edge, as you need to quickly adapt to the situation and use the appropriate weapons. And when you're completely overwhelmed, there's also a temporary slow-mo, which gives you time to assess the situation so you can prioritize your targets, dash to get yourself out of traps, and figure out the ideal weapon for the situation. The slow-mo also recharges pretty quickly, but not fast enough to be abused, so it needs to be used reasonably when you need it most. The violence and gore may seem a little over the top, but it completely fits the tone of the game. Every single enemy you kill doesn't just fall over, they get completely obliterated into a pile of goods. In Quake, this was only possible if you picked up the quad damage power-up, but in Wrath, it's the default. So you constantly feel like the ultimate Doomslayer tearing through endless hordes of enemies. It gives every kill a much greater impact and sense of satisfaction, which is what makes this game so fun. The bloodstains also persist, which makes the battlefield look like a gruesome mess, as every enemy leaves blood trails on the floor and walls. The level design is also inspired by old-school FPS design, by using larger, non-linear maps instead of funneling you down one narrow and restricted path. This means you get to move freely around the entire map and backtrack to find missed secret areas, which there are a lot of. It makes the levels feel that much larger and adds to a sense of adventure, as you are free to explore where you want. If you do get lost, which happens to me quite a bit, you can always activate the Pathfinder, which directs you to the next objective. There are also a range of power-ups, such as siphoning health from the enemies, a protective force field, trading health for invincibility, turning enemies into allies, and a few more I'll keep a surprise. There are a reasonable amount of save points throughout the levels, But you also have a limited number of quick saves at any time, which is very important if you sense an ambush coming up. If I don't save often enough, I sometimes have to restart way further back and repeat my progress. So knowing when to use the quick save is crucial. Lastly, I have to mention the elephant in the room. The graphics are also directly inspired by Doom and Quake, which by today's standards do feel a little dated. However, even if I take off my rose-tinted nostalgia glasses, I still don't mind the pixelated graphics, because this game nails the most important aspects of what makes an FPS fun, such as the wide range of weapons, gore, variety of enemies, pacing, and of course the non-stop action. So even if Doom and Quake were before your time, I'd still say this is a game that almost anyone into shooters can enjoy, especially if you want a game you can just quickly jump into and instantly have a good time. The game is currently $20, but you can get 10% off with my code VRCT, which brings it down to $18. If you have any questions on anything I missed, just leave a comment and I'll reply ASAP. If you found this review helpful, feel free to leave a like and consider subscribing for more reviews like this. And I'll see you in the next.